The cultural web of an organisation is a simple model developed by Gerry and Kevan Scholes. And it helps us to understand 7 important factors that have an impact on an organisation's culture. At the core of the model, at the centre of the web, is paradigm. And the paradigm represents the set of assumptions that everyone in the organisation, or most people in the organisation, make about the organisation. If you like, it's the working model of the organisation that people hold in their heads. Next, we have the symbols, the outward indicators of the organisation itself. These are things like brand, terminology, the perks that people get, like company cars, the titles that people use, the most visible things to the outside world. When you go into an organisation, what do you see on the walls? Typically, you see logos, you see colours, you see imagery. All of these are the symbols that both reflect the organisational culture and reinforce it, setting the tone. They can be as simple as colour. A bright golden colour suggests a happy, easygoing culture, whereas a dark blue colour might reflect a more thoughtful, cautious, considered organisation. Next, we have the power structures of the organisation. And these are both the formal hierarchies within the organisation, the reporting lines, the organisation chart, who's in charge of whom, and the informal networks that sit inside that hierarchy, which reflect how work gets done day to day. Both of these have a huge impact on the culture of the organisation. The organisational structures often drive the formal power structures that we just talked about. These are the formal relationships between functions, activities, people, and budgets. Typically, this is the diagram that is presented to the outside world, to shareholders, to customers, and to regulators. Next, we have control structures. These are the means by which the organisation measures and rewards performance. And indeed, it sets up what aspects of performance are likely to be rewarded and what are likely to be deprecated and therefore potentially punished. Rituals and routines set out what we do and how we do it. They regulate everything from the processes of the organisation through to the interactions between people. And finally, we have stories. And these are the events and the people that the organisation remembers. When an organisation tries to take control of its culture, it tries to choose what events it remembers and marks in its history, and what personalities it sets aside as heroes or villains, creators or implementers. And it also determines which lessons we learn from the events that we consider to be either successes or failures. When you ask people who are deeply steeped in the culture of an organisation about their organisation, these are the stories they will tell. We can use Johnson and Scholes' cultural web model for understanding how a culture operates and what drives it. But more importantly, we can also use it to understand how we might shift a culture from where it is now to where we want it to be in the future. Once we've understood that current state and the future state that we want, we can start to think about the changes we need to make to each of these factors to bridge the gap that takes us from now to where we want to get to. So the Johnson and Scholes model is not just about understanding a static culture. It's about figuring out the levers we need to apply to shift our culture and therefore to set up the conditions for the future success of our organisation. Please do give us a thumbs up if you like this video. There's loads more great management courses content to come, so please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of them. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and in the meantime, keep learning.